As of the day this video goes live, hopefully April 8th, Splatoon 1 servers are now offline, meaning you can no longer play the multiplayer modes, access the shops, and also I'm fairly sure you can't use Amiibo, which is really weird. I don't know, that's how it works in later games. You can fact check me on that, I don't know. But either way, the multiplayer is no longer playable, which is the main bit. And I think now that it's gone, I should probably talk about my thoughts and general experience with this game. Also, I'll be looking at the game for how it is after all the updates. I'm honestly not knowledgeable enough on this game to talk about its entire lifespan, if I'm being entirely honest, so this is just going to be mainly after all the updates come out. Also, if you end up enjoying the video, consider liking or subscribing. At the end of the day, it does actually help. I think I'm like close to 1,300 subscribers, I don't know. I don't really have a goal right now. And also, maybe comment something about Splatoon 1 that, like, from your experience or something that you're going to miss from this game. Because there's a lot I'm going to miss. I think a good place to start off is with the weapons. And if I'm being honest, playing some of these weapons after playing Splatoon 3 for so long is just weird. Like, Dynamo Roller can actually do damage, which is insane. Although I will say, I did quite poorly in the gameplay I actually recorded, which is not great. But stuff like blasters and stuff just feels so much stronger in this game. Though there is a single weapon in this game that has never returned, being the Dual Squelcher. In Splatoon 2, they got like reworked into the Dually Squelchers. And when I played it, it kind of just felt like the Dually Squelchers, but with two reticles. I don't really know what I was expecting. I can see why we only have one or the other, if I'm being honest. I also don't really know which one I prefer. Though the specials in this game are quite an interesting thing in my opinion, because there are only 7. For context, there are 19 in Splatoon 3. There's like Bubbler being an invincibility panic button that we all know and love. The Kraken being another invincible panic button, with the bonus of being able to one-shot. At least you can't Kraken cheese in this game, because there's no Clan Blitz. Ink Strike being the funny missile on the gamepad. Pretty sure the only special to use the gamepad. Ink Zuka being busted as hell, I guess it just runs in the family. Killer Whale being this giant wall of don't walk over here for like 5 seconds. Echolocator just being a free ink tank refill. Honestly, I guess it also marks enemies, but at the end of the day, it's kind of just an ink tank refill. And Bomb Rush. It's just Bomb Rush. And honestly, aside from Bomb Rush, I really don't like Bomb Rush. I think the specials in this game work with each other a lot, because it just feels like a busted fest. And from a casual perspective, that can just be really fun. Just having anything and everything be broken and overpowered is just really funny. And I love that. But thank God none of them just destroy an entire mode like Kraken does in Splatoon 3. Onto the stages. We've got 16 by the time updates ended. And if I'm being honest, I don't really care for half of these stages. But the other half, my god, some of the best stages in the series. This is going to take a while. I'm going to talk briefly about all of them. Some of them longer than others. Some of them I think have literally got less than 2 lines. Urchin Underpass. I honestly had fonder memories of this one, but going back, it just feels very lockout heavy. It's fine. I know I'd said I wanted it back in that one video, but like going back to it, it's fine. I don't really care for it. Walleye Warehouse sucks. I really don't like this one. I just have good memories playing it in Splatoon 2, this one time in Clan Blitz with a friend, where the other team didn't really understand what beacons were. Salt Spray Rig, I think, is one of the worst designed stages in the game, in the series. But at the same time, it's extremely funny, and I love it, because the stage is just so horrible that it turns around to being funny as hell, and I adore it. Arowana Mall ain't terrible, it ain't bad, I just don't really care for it. Like, it's got like some cool slopes, wish we had that in Splatoon 3. But like, it's fine, I'd play on it. I don't dislike it. Blackbelly Skate Park kind of feels forgettable to me. I know a lot of people like Blackbelly, but whenever I think of a skate park stage, I always think of Humpback. Even though I prefer Blackbelly over Humpback. I just don't really care for this stage. Port Mackerel, this stage entirely depends on the day. One day I'll think it's fine, I'll think it's okay, and the next day, I'll goddamn hate it. I don't know how to feel about the stage. Kelp Dome. I hate Kelp Dome. The stage can rot in hell. I despise Kelp Dome, and I never want to see Kelp Dome in another Splatoon game ever again. Leave this stage for Satan to deal with, because he was the one that made it in the first place. Bluefin Depot. I think this is the only time I'm going to say this about any of these stages, if I'm being entirely honest. I think I prefer the Splatoon 3 version of Bluefin. I think there are some parts Splatoon 1 does better than 3. Specifically, there's this, I didn't actually play it in Tower Control when I played Splatoon 1, but there's this side route in Tower Control that they removed in Splatoon 3 for some reason. That's like the one improvement I can think of off the top of my head. But there's probably more. But I just think overall, I prefer the Splatoon 3 version, which is insane. Moray Towers. Everyone knows Moray Towers. I don't have that much of a different opinion on it. Probably my second least favorite stage in this game after Kelp Dome. It's a neat concept. I just don't really like playing on it, especially in this game. It's much better in 2. I don't like the stage. Camp Triggerfish. Kind of feels a little like Arowana Mall to me. I don't really have many strong opinions on it. I think it's fine. It's inoffensive. I wouldn't mind it coming back, but I'm not, clamoring for it. Now, I'm looking at my script, and from now on, this is where I start talking more than a line and a half about these stages. Not much more, but just slightly. Flounder Heights. I played the Splatoon 3 version before I ever played this one. A lot of these late Splatoon 1 maps I played first in Splatoon 3. So that's a lot of context for a lot of these. Now, I played the Splatoon 3 version before this. And in 3, I thought it was a fine stage. I thought it was fine. But now that I've played this one, God, please revert it. This is so much better. There's so much more verticality. I want to squid surge up this wall. I want to be able to go all the way around on the right-hand side. It's so good. I don't hate the Splatoon 3 version, but my God, bring this version back, please. Hammerhead Bridge. I think if you've watched that really scuffed and not very good video on what I think the worst stages in Splatoon 3 are, you already know what my thoughts on Hammerhead in 3 is. But Hammerhead in 1 is great. I love it. Verticality is great. I love the concept. I love the multiple layers. It's got such a great gimmick. My God, bring this version back. Say there is a rework and say, oopsie, we couldn't finish the rework. Now it's under construction. And boom, you fix the stage. Museum de Alfonsino. It's a good stage, I like it. The trip to Splatoon 3, honestly, wasn't too terrible for this stage. I think this is the stage after Bluefin which got treated the best in Splatoon 3. I think it's worse in Splatoon 3, but it didn't get completely shafted, you know? All of the stages that need to be reverted in 3, this is not a top priority, you know? This version's good. It's got its gimmick, it's got the spinners, it's got a pretty unique layout. It's just good all around. Mahi Mahi Resort. This stage is great. It's one of the best in the series. It might be my favorite in this game. I think I might prefer Hammerhead, personally. The concept is great. The gimmick is great. All of the different paths to take on this map make it feel really unique to play on. I think we all know what happened to this stage in the transition to 3. And sadly, now that it's gotten a rework in 3, I'm gonna be honest, we're never getting this version back. Because of the rework, we're never getting this one. We are sticking to Splatoon 3 Mahi. It's not terrible in Splatoon 3 anymore. I wouldn't say it's good, but it's not god-awful, but God, I just want this version back. Piranha Pit. Another stage with a fun gimmick. It's very big as well, a very big stage, you know? At the same time, I just don't really care for it. Maybe I just haven't played it enough and would think more of it if I did. But right now, I honestly don't have many thoughts on it. And finally, we have Anchovy Games. I enjoyed this one quite a lot, honestly. Most of my experience with this stage is Splatoon 2, but I have played a little bit of it in 1. But one thing I noticed about a lot of these stages compared to Splatoon 3 is that they all have unique, or most of them, have unique gimmicks to them. Like, the fans in Anchovy, the water level in Mahi, the multiple stages and layers in Hammerhead, the conveyor belts in Piranha Pit, you know, stuff like that. And compared to the newer stages in 3 that use the fans, yeah, I just prefer Anchovy Games over Marlin Airport. It's just a fun, solid stage. And one thing I mentioned before about these stages, but I'll mention again here, a lot of these earlier stages are honestly not that great. Like Kelp Dome, Walleye Warehouse, Urchin Underpass, obviously Salt Spray Rig, are designed not very well, if I'm being honest. A lot of them are either kind of mid or just straight up bad. You got some exceptions like Arowana Mall, which is like alright. But it's really when we get later into the game that the stages start actually getting really good, like with Mahi and Hammerhead. Hopefully with the shutdown of this game, Nintendo will put the missing stages from this game into 3, and that includes the older versions of the messed up ones. But as I've already said, I don't think we're getting Mahi. Hi, halfway through editing, I forgot to touch on the actual modes, so I'll do that briefly. We got Turf War. It's just Turf War, what can I say about it? This mode hasn't changed in 9 years. Splat Zones is still Splat Zones. I don't think this one has changed ever either. Tower Control is the same, kind of, but it doesn't have checkpoints. And also the towers can be different sizes depending on the stage, which isn't a thing in Splatoon 2, and is only present on a single stage in Splatoon 3, being Bluefin Depot. Finally, we got Rainmaker. It's the same as Tower Control in that it doesn't have any checkpoints, and also the way the Rainmaker actually shoots is different. Instead of being the big explosion that it's got in Splatoon 2 and 3, it shoots out tornadoes, like how the Inkzooka does in this game, making it, like, pretty busted. As it kind of should be, you know. I think these modes are fine in this game, though I will say the checkpoints in Tower Control and Rainmaker really do add a lot, and I am happy they're in the later games. Like I said, this is halfway through editing, I have to be brief. Also, one thing I randomly want to mention, don't know where I'm going to put this, but in the results screen, why do they look like that? Why are they looking at me like that? Why are they just those... Why do they look like that? Moving on. I do want to quickly touch on the single player, but since it's still here after the shutdown, I won't go too in-depth with my thoughts. Maybe one day I'll give it its own video, I don't know. Like, I'll do a video on all the single players. Maybe, I don't know, I'll think about it. But either way, I think this is a solid single player. I'd probably put it on par with Return of the Mammalians for how much I enjoy it, which means personally it goes below Side Order and Octo Expansion, but at least above Splatoon 2's story mode. It's just solid. Quite simple, but like a lot of the stages feel really fun to just speed through at the same time, because I had to replay some of them to get some of this footage, and it was just fun running quickly through them. I want to kind of like see what the speedruns for this game are like, 'cause it feels like they'd be quite interesting. But like I said, I'll keep this brief. But there is one thing I do want to mention. I think that this game has the best final boss in the series. Like, I just think it's so amazing, and I don't know how they got it so right on the first try, and it still hasn't been topped. I think others might have a better spectacle, or like better music. Like, I think the Octo Expansion final boss, gameplay-wise, isn't that crazy, but the music and the setting and everything's great. Same with the Mr. Grizz fight. But I just think, pure gameplay, this fight is amazing. And it's crazy how badly they messed it up in Splatoon 2. I'll just say that much. What else have we got? I guess I've got to talk about amiibo functionality, since it's now unusable. Well, quickly going over it, pretty much using one of the main 3 amiibos gives you little challenges to do for the gear you get. Inkling Girl gives you stages to play with the charger, Inkling Boy gives you a roller, and Inkling Squid gives you other challenges. I don't know most of them, it's just the ones I did that gave you a permanent Kraken, which is like cool. And I will just say, I would much rather have this over just go and play 20 or so games of multiplayer and we'll give you the gear. And I wish the future games did this, even though I know it wouldn't really work that well in something like Splatoon 3, given the stages are all designed around the weapon that you're using. But, you know, it just would have been neat. Also, the Squid Sisters amiibo gives you the opportunity to view concerts from Splatfests. I don't know why you can't do this in future games. It's really odd. Oh, and also the shops are now unusable. There's not much to talk about here. I've honestly talked about a lot of what I wanted to say, but now I just want to briefly talk about my personal experience with this game. I bought this game in 2015. I was around 9 years old when this game came out, and I bought it like a month after it released. I played part of the single player and a couple matches of multiplayer, and then kind of just put it down, and then didn't really pick it up again. And then 2017 came around, they announced Splatoon 2, or they show it off at least, and I actually finally go ahead and pick up the game again. I finally finished story mode, and like, actually played a bit of the multiplayer, not much. I got to like level 9, and I also unlocked the ink brush at minimum, because I know I really like the ink brush, but still not a lot. I have not played a lot of this game. Most of the time I've played this game has been last year and this year. Specifically for my first video on my channel being I played Splatoon 1 in 2023, which honestly is not a great video. You can really tell by the thumbnail that it's a first video, but I still really enjoyed this game. It's great. I'm only like level 15 or 16 in the footage, but it's just a good game. Do I think it's the best in the series? Probably not. Even with all the issues Splatoon 3 has, I still think Splatoon 3 is the best in the series. There's just so many small quality of life changes that really like mess with me. Like, you can't change your weapon and keep matchmaking. Same with like unskippable news, you know, the usual things. But I do think it is the best in like some areas. Obviously the stages, that's without saying anything. Even though half of them aren't great, it's still got Floundered, Hammerhead, Museum, Mahi. This game also has like a unique balance to it. I know currently in Splatoon 3 we're currently stuck in kind of Pencil, Zuka. But at the end of the day, Splatoon 3 does have kind of a more diverse meta, at least than Splatoon 2. I kind of like am interested in Splatoon 1's meta kind of, because I know it's a lot like, it's like Cherry Nozzle Nose and Blasters and Zinc Mini, which I know is why they were gutted in Splatoon 2, but it's just really interesting, the meta in this game, and I kind of wish I played it more. I kind of wish I didn't ever put it down back then, but Splatoon is a series I'm going to hold to my heart forever, I think. No matter how many Splatoon 3 stages they mess up, no matter how many times we have to deal with invincibility specials, or even if they, godforsaken, bring back Kelp Dome, I still love this series. And let me just say, thank God for Pretendo. Thank you for watching. Like I said, if you enjoy, consider liking and subscribing. Also, maybe, I don't know, I've never advertised this. Maybe follow me on Twitter, I don't know, I don't post much there at all. Maybe if I advertised it, I'd actually post on there. I don't know what I'd post, but just, I don't know, do it anyway. I've now got to stop procrastinating and start up my side order video. I've got so much footage on my computer. I am so bad with procrastination. I need to get this footage off my computer. It's taking up too much space. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.